Mr. Sharma. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairship, and I'd like to congratulate the Honourable Lady for securing this important debate. As the government's own analysis shows, a no-deal outcome would mean 8% lower growth nationwide, 10% lower in Wales, 12% in the Midlands, Northern Ireland and the North West, and the North East taking a huge 16% growth hit. It would mean 10% tariffs on every movement along the supply chain for something like the automotive industry, which is so vital to the steel industry in my constituency, and crushing not only that, but the connected industries. The head of HMRC told the Brexit to... I will give way.
Would he accept those are the figures from the report anybody can see, any member of parliament can see in the Treasury, but they do caveat that with saying that's without any other government interventions or indeed the reaction of businesses to adjust to a new world of the trade with the European Union.
I thank the member for his intervention, and clearly these are forecasts, which is more of an art than a science, but the fact of the matter is that leaving the largest market that we have, 43% of our exports, will inevitably have a negative impact on growth. And whatever remedial measures business may attempt to take, they will always be playing catch-up with the impact of that seismic event. And it seems therefore inevitable to me that there will be a contraction in the economy. The head of HMRC told the Brexit Committee just before the turn of the year that Brexit preparation is already set to cost £1 billion over the next 5 years, and it's on the basis of us securing some kind of deal. So what all this does tell us, as the Honourable Lady has so eloquently set out, is that no deal is simply not an option. And that serves to underscore the importance of the final part of the Brexit negotiations, in which the framework for the future relationship will be set out. And if this House wishes to shape that, then we must move quickly. And so today's debate could not be more timely, because we really are in a race against time. Later this month, the EU will publish the legal text of the December Joint Progress Report. In mid-March, the European Parliament plans to publish a resolution to be adopted ahead of the meeting of the EU Council on the future relationship. This will be akin to the 3rd of October resolution that made clear that there would be no regulatory divergence across the Irish border, and that made clear that transition would only happen on the basis of the existing European Union regulatory, budgetary, supervisory, judiciary and enforcement institutions and structures. That must sound familiar, I'm sure, to honourable members. It means it's not something that we can just dismiss as white noise. The October resolution was effectively the blueprint for the deals that have followed, and that will also be the case for the resolution that will be passed in March about the negotiating guidelines for the future relationship. And when it comes to the future relationship, Michel Barnier has been clear. Our options are either a deal based on Canada or one based on the European Economic Area. Once that basic model has been agreed, there will be some scope during the transition period to add or subtract from it. But to all intents and purposes, the choice will be made, and it will be binary, and that is coming very, very soon indeed. And this really matters because the Canada model offers very little on services. Services make up 80% of the UK economy and almost 40% of our exports. And as Mr. Barnier has said, there is no place for services because there is not a single trade agreement that is open to services. It simply doesn't exist. And second, the Canada model leaves us without a customs partnership, which is incompatible with the desire to have a frictionless border in Ireland. So our conclusion must be clear. Our preferred model, no, in fact, the only conceivable model for the future relationship, is one based on EEA EFTA membership. EEA EFTA offers the best possible terms of exit, providing the maximal possible access to the single market from outside the EU, while allowing for differences that preserve our desire for greater control and determination. The EEA ends the principle of direct effect, meaning this House must pass all rules relating to the EEA internal market into law ourselves. It ends the jurisdiction of the ECJ, instead moving to the governance of the EFTA Court, which frequently forges a different path to the ECJ and which would, with the UK as an EEA EFTA member, have British judges on its bench. In the EEA EFTA, we would be able to shape the rules of the single market, of which only 10% have relevance to the EEA. And with the right of reservation, we would possess a veto over anything we consider inappropriate. This is not a vassal state. This is not an empty vessel. The Norwegians have used their veto almost 20 times, most recently in rejecting the third postal directive, for which they suffered absolutely no repercussions. Moreover, Articles 112 and 113 of the EEA agreement allow for suspension. I'm sorry, I've run out of time.
Paul Mastert.